Greetings, I'm Dr. Al Freeman, Education Executive for the South Wisconsin District. Thank you for joining us for National Lutheran School Accreditation How To Standard 8 Finance. I'm joined by Rob Lunak
I'm Rob Lunak. I serve here in the district in the areas of innovation and improvement.
and Dennis Gerke.
Presently serving as interim assistant director of accreditation for school ministry of the LCMS.
Standard 8 Finance. My good friend Dave Summermeyer used to tell me all the time, no money, no mission, no margin, no ministry. And it's true. If we don't have the finances, if we're not operating a school with financial sustainability, eventually, if you don't have the finances, you close. Or if you don't have the finances, you start to not have the ability for the offerings, the maintenance, and all those things that are important for a school. So financial health is something very important in National Lutheran School Accreditation. Finance overview here. Well, evaluating the financial health, the stewardship, and the long-term sustainability of the school, making sure that the school is financially healthy so it can flourish and grow and do all things that it needs to do to be an educational ministry of excellence. We do in Standard 8 expect an external financial review or an audit coming from an independent source, CPA or firm that has no vested interest, so that there's arm's length and we know that it's an actual report that's providing us the protection needed for the school to know its financial health. The governing authority must review compensation packages annually for all workers. Notice that says annually and all workers, so everyone in the school. Comprehensive insurance coverage is required. Liability insurance, facilities, furnishing. Notice that we put flood there, fire insurance, as we've seen some of our schools impacted by floods and fires that have come in different states. Texas, California, and so on. Written multi-year financial plan, minimum 3 years must be in place. Gift development and auxiliary financial guidelines are also evaluated as general indicators, especially those auxiliary financial guidelines. We have a lot of organizations operating within our schools. It might be some kind of parent-teacher organization that's bringing in funds. We have sales that are going on through these organizations. We might have athletic boosters that are part of our school that are bringing in funds to help the school, but yet we need to keep track of what's going on with those dollars and what's happening, not only for the school, but the protection of those people that are taking those funds in and are accountable for them. Required evidence, report of the most recent external financial review or audit, and then completed financial model, the 3-year projection. Required indicators that we have here, 801 through 803, the financial review or audit, income and expenditures, and making sure that they reflect the school's mission, vision, and purpose. I said in an earlier episode, follow the money, follow where you spend your time. That tells you the priorities of the school. So that's kind of what it's getting at here. Does it align with your mission, vision, and purpose of the school? And then the capital and long-term debt are adequately funded, or in other words, do you have sustainability? And if you're constantly going in debt, what's going to change that cycle? If you are having surpluses, where are you spending those dollars to make sure that the ministry is growing and developing? And then, of course, the insurances, the governing authority reviewing the compensation, and all of these being significant factors in the financial health of the school. General indicators that we have here, financial principles and records, budget oversight, gift development, and then, as I mentioned, the auxiliary financial guidelines that are present. Checklists that we provide you here. Again, focus on audits and balance sheets and so on, fundraising activities, and then the insurances. Rob, Dennis, what do you really see out of Standard 8 that I should focus on as a school coordinator and that maybe the validation team is looking for?
This is a newer area in accreditation, and this is something that a lot of our schools have really had to wrestle with in the last 20 or 30 years. It used to be, you had no tuition, the church gave all the money you would ever need, you didn't have to worry about this. Well, those times are different. You have tuition now, church giving is down, you maybe have a majority of members, a majority of students that aren't members of your church anymore. And so now you have these different scholarship structures, you have a lot more financial pieces than you used to. And it's really important that you have a system and a structure to those. Now, this does not mean that the principal needs to do all of it. It just means that the organization needs to have a system for all of these things because it is focused on sustainability. The goal of this section is to make sure that you as a school are around to continue to preach the gospel years into the future. And that's why when the validation team's going to be coming through looking at all these pieces, they have that in mind. They want the school to be in the best financial position possible so it can continue to do ministry.
Serving in my role now with Lutheran schools across Synod, this is probably the area that's causing the most, I'll use the word consternation, as it involves financial reviews and audits, because these haven't been required in previous protocols. We're very blessed in Wisconsin, I believe, that through the school choice program, this is something we've been doing in order to be an accredited school and to meet the requirements for choice. So in Wisconsin, our schools should be in pretty good shape on that, the ones that are in choice programs. But for other places, this is becoming or schools that are new to accreditation or to choice, an expense that they have not always planned for and is necessary.
Yeah, and I think this is why Standard 8 was developed, the finance standard, because there was a concern of several things going on financially with schools that were not healthy. Schools were, the congregation historically provided about 30% of the financial sustainability for a single congregation school. And now it's down about 22% and it continues to decline, which then changes your financial model as a school. This is forcing you to examine that financial model. It's also forcing you to really account for your spending and your revenue generation and what that looks like. And as Rob said, the sustainability as well. Schools that are looking for an audit, sometimes an audit can be quite expensive, $20,000, $30,000, $40,000. When I was head of a school, we paid $60,000 a year for an audit. That runs a lot. Financial reviews, maybe anywhere from $3,000 to $8,000, depending on that. But really what it's doing is it's forcing you as a school to examine your financial health and to account for the dollars that need to be spent to make this happen. As Dennis said, Wisconsin, it's been happening with our schools for a long time because of the voucher program, and now more and more dollars are out there in terms of choice programs, not just the vouchers in Wisconsin, but the possibility of the federal tax scholarship credit that's coming up and whether or not Wisconsin takes part in that. There's 37 states right now who have some kind of a choice program. In other words, much more expectation for accountability as well. And it's healthy for a school to know where our revenue is coming from, how we account for the revenue, and where our dollars are being spent also. So we recognize really financial health, long-term sustainability, and growth of our school for projects that are needed in all elements, especially pay for our educators and our workers. It also is the plans, the health and disability plans, and so on, Concordia plans, the other retirement plans that are in there. All these things where costs are going up, and you have to figure out the finances of the school to make sure that your workers are well taken care of for retention and recruitment purposes, and also because that's the right thing to do as a ministry. So the finance section here, the Finance Standard 8, does quite a bit. It's quite the lengthy standard in terms of covering a lot of the financial information that has not been there before. Sometimes it might promote the fact you might want a consulting visit as well to kind of help you out. It should be a strong piece of your strategic plan. So it's added there as well. If you don't have finance in your strategic plan, you're missing the key element of your strategic plan, because all those other elements, the academics, maybe the culture, some of these other things, well, if you don't have the finances, how will you make it happen?
Yeah.
So that is Standard 8. Any last thoughts on Standard 8 and finance? All right. Well, thank you for joining us for National Lutheran School Accreditation Standard 8 on finance. We will have one last section for you coming up, and that's on school action plans and what to expect over the next 5 years as you work toward reaccreditation.